Okay then, Ferret fans, this is Mr. Ben
Fellows.
Mr. Ben Fellows, and Ben today is going to tell us about his film on. Well, tell the fans yourself.
The films are on YouTube and across the internet, and they basically depict me talking to the police about whether they will investigate Kenneth Clarke MP and other people that I've mentioned. And of course, in their own words, they damn themselves because they actually say that Kenneth Clarke's above the law and cannot be questioned. Not even. I made a 15-page statement, which is very detailed. It was an 8-hour interrogation, literally an interrogation. It was, I couldn't go out for bathroom breaks. I wasn't allowed drinks or anything like that. For 8 hours, I was interrogated. Did a 15-page statement. Even the detective who was doing the statement said it's extremely detailed. And what have you, so they're going to actually move on this. 6 months later, of course, the police came back to me and told me that Kenneth Clarke was above the law, other people were above the law, they couldn't actually do anything. In fact, there was a 2-tier system, whereby if I'd have, say, accused you of something, you'd have been spoken to. Yeah. However, even just a statement being taken, that was all that's required at this stage. We're not talking about getting someone arrested or anything like that. It's just simply them following the protocol, getting permission, probably from the Speaker of the House of Commons, and then interviewing Kenneth Clarke. The police decided to tell me that he was more likely to lie. And I said, well, that's not your decision to make. Get the statement. If he lies, well, whatever. Yeah. But at least then it's on the record. Yeah. And they told me that under no circumstances would that happen. Now, I filmed them because I had been threatened and bullied by them from the word go. And this was the paedophile unit, Operation Fairbridge, which is the clandestine unit to Operation Utrecht, which is a more public side of things, which is dealing with people like Rolf Harris, Max Clifford, and what have you. Fairbridge is actually gathering intel on various people who are accused. They're taking statements from victims and they're sitting on them and they're not doing anything. It's my belief, really, that they will then use that for their own purposes without making it public, and that's not on, especially in a democracy. And now Ken Clarke, of course, is appearing here at Bilderberg in the Grove Hotel. And he's part of the steering committee, and he tells people what to think. So he has direct access to Kissinger, to David Rockefeller. They say this is the agenda for the meeting, and he will then go around all the delegates, and a lot of people are from corporations, and of course they're allowed to be here. There's absolutely no problem with private people being here. However, politicians aren't private people. Kenneth Clarke is Minister without portfolio, so in other words, he's the steering committee of the cabinet as well. Yeah. And basically, he's there to influence how everyone thinks. Now, I've spoken to some Bilderbergers who are up there.
Oh, really?
Who are very concerned about what they're being told, how they're being influenced. They're not all evil by any stretch of the imagination, and I think it's important to understand that. These people are, yes, they're very wealthy business people. They may be very privileged. There may have even been certain dodgy things that's gone on in their companies. However, they are good people, and they want to do the right thing. However, they are being influenced in certain ways, and a lot of them have told me that they're actually worried for their own safety, for their families, and for their children, and what's going on is wrong. We had Michael Meacher here yesterday, and, he was basically saying, I think one of the people put it to him, basically saying this is a clandestine group, it's treason. And he said, well, look, it's very colourful language, but you're right. In effect. Yeah. And that's a sitting MP, and he was very brave, actually, to come out and say that. So there are good people. For example, there are good people in the police, the ones that met me weren't, clearly, but there are good people. All the police here in the blue jerseys, they're extremely friendly and approachable. There's been no trouble here whatsoever. I know one of the papers said the hostile Bilderberg protesters. Well, everyone's having their sandwiches and talking to each other, which is the main thing. And whilst they're having their meetings, we're having our meetings, and so really what I'm about is getting the story out, getting the truth out about the situation, and saying we shouldn't have a 2-tier system where some of the laws apply to us, being the ordinary people, and other laws don't apply to these guys. All laws have to apply equally and fairly to everybody or nobody. And so the police, in their own words, have technically broken the rule of law, which, I've had barristers calling me up, I've had judges speaking to me saying, well, there's either democracy or the rule of law is broken and you get anarchy. It's as black and white as that.
Absolutely.
Because next time a policeman pulls you over, you say, nope, I'm not going to do what you say, mate. And what can they do?
But having said that, they can actually arrest you under the Prevention of Terrorism Act 2000, just to ask you your name now. I mean, were you aware of that one?
Yeah, and again, this is the abuse of the law, isn't it? Whereby, you know, these so-called terrorist events happen and new laws get enacted. You know, I think, you know, in America, Homeland Security had their thing ready to go as soon as 9/11 happened.
Sorry, to interrupt you, I thought the Prevention Terrorism Act 2000, a year before 9/11, it's a bit suspicious, don't you think?
Well, it's suspicious the fact that they had it all prepared. And so they bring in new laws. They're supposed to be used against terrorists. The terrorists seem to be able to talk freely, use their phones, use their computers and what have you, except they're snooping on us. And that's the problem. That's where I come in and say, no, hold on a minute. That's not right. That's not fair. We've done nothing wrong. You know, we're the ones who are being victimised. We're the ones who are basically being intimidated by the police. And all that we want you to do is do your job. You know, it's not for the police to say whether Mr. Clarke would lie or whether others would lie. Speak to them. If they lie, they lie. But at least it's on the record.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
You've been welcome,
very frank. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Keep up the good work, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Nice
Thanks.
one.
Bye.
That was Bilderberg Festival Fringe in Watford. This is Kenny Lloyd, Truth Ferret. Apathy is no longer an option.